Okay, guys, so we were talking about NBA fantasy picks, sleepers this year, who was playing good. Now we're going to go back in time before the season when I posted players to avoid this year, and we're going to react to it. What do you think about that, Sirac?
I mean, I'm about to be probably surprised. Probably surprised. With you, Fady, there's always stuff that I don't think of.
Are you ready to start this video?
Yeah, I'm down.
Let's do it. Hey guys, welcome back to the Mancy Buckets channel. I just want to say thank you guys I for had to all the put
Mm.
love in my
Mm.
last
Mm.
Nikola Jokic on video there. on fantasy.
Oh,
I got
of
some more
course.
videos for y'all in the works, so make sure you hit that subscribe button.
Make sure you guys
I
subscribe to
also
the
love
channel.
hearing the feedback
More
you guys
podcasts
leave in
coming
the
soon.
comments, so keep that up. Last video I made, I told you guys players to draft this year, so this video is going to be players you should stay away from in this year's draft. The general theme to not drafting a player is either the player is too high on projected draft rank, or he's an injury prone player, or the player does not fit team structure. I want to pause it right there. What did you say, Sirac, before? What did we say about this?
Okay, so the thing is, since this was my first year being in a category league, I didn't really understand the whole point of team structure and stuff like that, you know? This is kind of a whole new concept to me, when it comes to building a team, because the other league I was in, it was just a points league. So, when it comes to what you just said, it's 100% accurate. There's some players that are probably good players in real life, but you just don't want to put them on your fantasy team. So far, I got nothing bad to say for you. Got it.
Yo, right before the we opened the video, Sirac was like, if you want to if you want to win in fantasy, don't draft injury prone players. And that's honestly the key, man. Like once you start getting in better leagues, most people are gonna drop those. Like the players that are more injury prone are gonna drop more and more in drafts. So you got it right out of the bag, man. That's one of the key things when it comes to fantasy basketball. So good thing I'm
Mm.
pointing that out. If you guys want to make the best team possible, completely forget about the ranks Yahoo and ESPN give you, and just look at the player stats and what stats does the player have to offer. I also gotta say, Yahoo is crazy with those ranks.
Yeah,
Like every year, they always put someone with like 12 points a game and does nothing else at like top 30, and it's crazy. I don't see how those ranks, like how they make those ranks fit. You
I
know what
don't
I'm
think
saying?
any of these publications do a good job with that, honestly.
For
Bleacher
real.
Report, ESPN, it doesn't matter who. They don't know how to make these lists. They only try to get some attention out of it. I don't know
Exactly.
why Yahoo would for, fantasy, but I'm assuming they just think that they can guess the pop off player.
And you know what? And everyone's always like, it's not, you can't be certain about who's going to pop off, who's not going to pop off. I've been winning a lot of fantasy leagues. Like I have about 12 first place trophies, and I've been doing fantasy for 6 years, I think. So
Mm,
I've done fantasy a long time. When it comes to drafts, I don't like to look at ranks, although it does help sometimes. I feel like
mm,
it's a good distraction for other managers. I just like to look at the stats. So if my league has field goal makes, free throw makes, which I do, I'm looking at those stats. I'm like, this is two categories. That's 1/6 of all of the categories I have. That's a big chunk. So I got to look at who's getting those high field goal makes, who's getting free throw makes. So I'm not even looking at the name. If you guys see this, the guy on my screen, 9.9 points, or sorry, 9.9 field goal makes, 10.2 free throw makes. That's huge when it comes to fantasy, right? But if we don't have those categories, this guy would probably bump down a little bit more. I think this was James Harden
Yeah,
in
I don't
Houston,
even
though.
know. Why does it say 97% rostered? Who's not rostering James Harden?
Hey, yo, bro, there's some people that are just haters and you can't do nothing about it.
It's ridiculous.
I generally think Yahoo lost their mind sometimes when I look at the ranks. And you, I had to put the Kyle Lowry shot. You know why, bro? It's someone losing their mind in a shot. Last
That's
year, I was
ridiculous.
projected in the bottom half of 3 of my leagues and went on to finish with the best record in all 3 leagues before COVID happened. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's consistency.
Bro, it's not even about that. In projected rank, so after you draft, they say you're projected to be 12th, you're projected to be ninth. I was every single draft I do, I'm projected in the bottom half.
Yeah.
Every single time. In this season, I think I was projected ninth. And bro,
Oh,
personally, I think I got the best team. But
I
fantasy
mean,
playoffs.
you made a bunch of bunch of trades too. So
That's true.
I think that plays a factor too, because when you started your team, you started with a bunch of tradable pieces. Who's not trading for Bam in a fantasy league?
That's
You
true.
know,
That's a
who's
fair
not
point, yeah.
trading for Zabonis this year? It's a bunch of people. So you had a lot of tradable pieces. Um, Not everyone's trading for Donovan Mitchell. Let me tell you that from experience.
It's not, the market's not that high for him right now.
Yeah, the bargain, it's a tough bargain, man.
So don't be discouraged by projected rank. First player to not draft this year is Anthony Davis.
What?
What'd you think about that?
That's so funny that he's the first player you mentioned and you trade for him.
Yo, don't bring that up, bro.
Come
Don't bring that
on,
up.
bro.
Don't
No,
bring
that's
that up.
your fault. That's 100% your fault. Your
But-
first warning was Davis, and you traded for him. Come on, bro.
You want to say the trade for the people watching at home? If you remember it.
Oh, if I remember it,
I pretty much traded. So this is pretty sad. I decided to trade for, well, here's the thing. When I traded for AD,
oh, I do remember it. Yeah.
I didn't know he was injured. This was the day he injured his Achilles, or was it calf or whatever it was. The day he injured it. And I was just, I do a lot of trades. We both know that.
Mm.
And I traded for him. I think I traded Sabonis, Grant, and Fox for Harden, AD, and someone. I forgot who it was.
Sadiq Bey.
Sadiq Bey. It was a bad trade, a horrible trade. I didn't know that AD was injured when that happened. Well, it is what it is.
Mhm.
And I said to not even draft him, man. The amount of comments that told me I was 100% wrong about this is crazy.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even play fantasy every year, and I was like, even as a Laker fan, I knew better than to draft Anthony Davis.
To be fair, the last year he was top 5.
Yeah, sure, but at the
But that's the
same
thing.
time, it's bad history.
That's the thing. I said that it was because of his contract year. He was motivated to play good. And that's why I drafted him last year and I stayed away from him this year. Like I
don't
didn't even
think
get
it's
close
that,
to him.
though. Last year, it wasn't just that he wanted a contract. On top of that, it was a bunch of people saying that Anthony Davis is not a guy that you can win with. Anthony Davis is a guy that you have on the New Orleans Pelicans, and what has he done and stuff like that. You just traded him for Lonzo Ball, for Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, and some other stuff. It needs to be worth it. And there was a lot of pressure on Anthony Davis in general last year, to just perform well. And you know, a lot of players, like when they're in that situation, they actually end up looking pretty good. The ones that don't, everyone talks about them for the rest of their life. So
That is true. That does happen a lot. But I still think there's a theme when it comes to fantasy where if you're in a contract year, these are the types of players
Oh,
that I want
yeah.
on my team.
Aaron
Once the
Gordon.
player signs, dude, once a player signs a contract, I stay away.
hmm
I ain't trying. I'm not trying to get near that because their motivation drops.
Yeah.
Speaking of flopping, look at Westbrook's face this whole time. Perfect timing, eh?
It's just like we're talking about nonsense. Huh?
He's like, bro, what y'all saying, man?
Bro, what are you talking about, man?
Damn, that surprised you, eh? Anthony Davis is being taken second this year as he finished 5th last year when looking at total stat ranks. But you have to take into consideration that this was Anthony Davis's contract year and he wanted to get paid. Typically, players perform better when they're in contract years, and Davis has just won a championship and will be securing the bag with the Lakers soon. Obviously, I'm not saying that he will play worse this year. I'm just saying it would be in his best interest to take rest games, as it is also in the Lakers' best interest to keep him healthy for the playoffs. And I feel he will not be as motivated this year until the playoffs roll around. If Davis drops anywhere below the 6th spot, however, go snatch him. Otherwise, there are better first round picks on the board to grab this year. Second player I'm avoiding this year is John Collins.
Yep.
2 for 2, baby. 2 for 2.
That guy, huge. This is a huge one. After last year, I was already like, I don't know, man. This year, I think he just needs a better situation, honestly.
It's not even that he sucked this year. It's that he was drafted so high that people started hating him. I don't actually think he's that bad. He does
No,
get
he's
you a
not
lot of
bad at all.
defensive stats. I would draft him in the mid round, but I wouldn't draft him in the bro. This guy was getting drafted top 12 when I made this video in the
Oh.
first round of drafts, and you're gonna see right now he was ranked in the top 12, and I'm like, y'all, this is crazy. This is actually
Okay.
crazy. I think he's ranked 30 right now, which I thought was his average rank before the season, because there's Clint Capella. You can't forget about that, you know.
Yeah, for sure.
I get that John Collins is such a top 13 right after KD. That's
Wow.
crazy.
Uh, damn. Um, they had Tatum over LeBron.
They had Tatum over LeBron. I still remember that, and I was
Young.
kind of shocked. Well, you got to realize that in our league, so our league we do triple doubles and double doubles. So LeBron actually ranks a lot higher than most of your leagues. Um, but LeBron James in your leagues, I would say is a second round pick. He's not a first round pick. In our league, he's definitely a first round pick.
Really? I
Yeah,
I I don't know if I would put him below Jason Tatum.
that's a tough one. I would say they're pretty equal. You can't go wrong with either of them. But this year LeBron didn't do as good as I thought he was, or as good as I thought he would do.
I think we're just also saying that because of the injuries on the Laker roster, in and outs and blah blah blah. There's a lot of stuff that happened this year, roster changes, personnel changes and stuff. So the team itself had a big transformation, and on top of that, Anthony Davis not being there, um, it for a pass first player, not having your first scoring option makes life more difficult for sure. Um, I just don't see him under Tatum or Young, bro. That's the only thing.
Trey Young in real life is one of my favorite players. I always talk high of Trey Young in fantasy. I value field goal percentage a bit too much, I guess, but
Yeah,
he
and
hurts you too
turnovers.
much. I do value field goal percentage turnovers are one of those two categories that people overlook, people don't
Mhm.
care about, and those are the ones that win you games, in my opinion.
Yeah,
If you can draft good players and look at their turnovers. So if you look at Tatum and LeBron James, I think Tatum has 3.5 turnovers, LeBron is 4.4. I know LeBron has more turnovers than Tatum. They provide very similar stats.
I feel like there's something off here. I don't know why. My brain just can't accept it, you know? You
That's
could you
because
could
you're a
just as
Laker
well be
fan.
right.
It's the Lakers and you talking. You
No,
know it.
it's not it's the fact that LeBron has been, LeBron for this many years. Uh about
LeBron did ball
this
out last year.
about the same across the board. Shooting goes to LeBron. Um 3-point percentage are a little bit different. 36 for LeBron, 37 for LeBron, 39 for Tatum. Free throws clearly Tatum. Um,
Yeah.
but LeBron gets 3 more assists. Damn, they're really close. You're right.
25, 8, and 8. Yeah.
You're really close. Yeah. I was looking at the stats and I just saw LeBron was averaging 3.4 assists, I believe it was. Or sorry, turnovers, 3.8 turnovers.
That's it?
Um, yeah. Tatum is averaging 2.7.
Okay, yeah. That's what I mean. Like those little things is what wins you games in fantasy, in my opinion.
I think I would take the extra turnover for the 3 assists.
That's a fair point. Assists are probably the hardest stat to win. If you can win an assist, you're more likely to win in steals and free throw percentage, in my opinion.
Really?
Unless
Are
you
you
get
saying
someone,
because players who get assists usually get steals as well?
yeah,
Okay,
except if
that's
you get someone from
okay.
the wire for steals. But if you draft someone that gets steals, you know what? I'm going to take that back. I'm going to take back that comment because of Ben Simmons. But usually guys that get steals usually have good free throws and assists
Yeah,
at the
that's
same
true.
time.
That's true.
High potential player, but I'm tired of seeing this man being selected in the first round to early second round of drafts. For a guy playing next to Clint Capella, who holds his own in the boards department, it does not make sense to grab Collins so early. Don't get me wrong, Collins is a great fantasy player. He averaged 21.6 points, 10.1 rebounds, and 1.6 blocks, and is looking to get a max deal this summer. So he will give it his best this year. But he hasn't proven to be first round material yet. And with Clint Capella in the rotation and the new talent in Atlanta, I would avoid him unless he drops to the end of the second round and beginning of the third round where he belongs. I would generally take Collins in the top 20, so if he falls around there, it would not be a bad pick considering your first pick matches statistically with John Collins. A player I would not draft at all this year is Kemba Walker.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
I'm not against it. Even though I had him on my team, I understand the reasons why. He was sitting back-to-backs this year. He had a really, 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 really rough first, what was it, like month and a half?
He didn't play the first 2 months. He
No,
started playing in January or
I mean when he
February.
was actually playing.
Mm,
There was like a month and a half where it was just rough.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then he switched his game a little bit, and all of a sudden he became like more of a point guard, you know?
Mm-hmm.
and you started seeing more, maybe 17 points, like 3 rebounds and 7 assists with like 2 steals, and like he did a solid job this year, but he was definitely a super risky pickup.
Especially if you don't have an IL spot. I would have never looked at Kemba Walker, and he was getting selected top 30.
Hmm.
And after I made my video, by 1 week, he was getting selected in the top 70. I'm not saying my video made a difference. I'm just saying like it changed a
No, that
lot
was
during
you.
that time.
That was you.
I don't think so, bro. I think I had like
Yeah.
2K views at the time. So those 2,000 people that watched it made the difference. Kemba has an ADP in the 30s of most drafts, which doesn't make any sense to me. Not only is Kemba an injury-prone player, but
Yep.
he is also going to be out until the beginning of January, which is a bad sign as this means he will be eased back into the Celtics rotation, and when he is back into the rotation, an injury does not seem far from happening.
Is the hope now that with these was the consensus from everybody that getting this injection and doing these strengthening exercises with the knee, that was the best course of action to try to get
Yes,
you
sir.
back to that point?
Yep. That's what we decided was best. Just decided not to rush back and take my time and just get healthy. I've had a pretty long run. Haven't had much of a break since I've signed here.
That one statement made me really scared to draft him. I had a really long run and I haven't had a break yet. I say that when I'm studying, and when I do that, I fall. Like I don't come back up. So I could relate to this, and that's why I'm like, yo, I'm staying the hell out of away from this guy
Yeah.
in fantasy.
That's fair. That's fair. Like I actually understand that being a reason, especially for what happened with the Celtics last year. It's pretty scary when a guy on a team like that says, "Yeah, I haven't had a break." So I get that. The amount of minutes that he puts on his body and everything.
Yeah.
And the thing is, one thing that people didn't consider as much this year, and why it was so important not to draft injury-prone players is because it was a shortened season. So the amount of times that you would actually see players get injured this season was significantly higher because there were like 8 games a day at some point. During the week, you would see so many games, and that means that a player had to play that game. They
Mhm.
played, then they were off. They played, they were off. They played, they were off. That's a lot of minutes to put on a body, especially for a player that just said this.
You know what? I wasn't even thinking about that when I made the video. Like I wasn't thinking about the shortened season. I was just thinking in terms of like he wasn't going to come. But that's actually like a better point to make, that it's a shortened season and he's missing this many games, and when he comes back, he's gonna miss back to backs. I think that's a bigger point
Yeah,
to make.
and on top of that, the shortened seasons, because they took a month away from like I think they delayed the season a month, right? Was it?
Uh, it usually starts in September, October, end
Yeah,
of
I think we
October,
started
so it's
November.
more than 2 months, 3 months.
I don't think it was that much.
So
I honestly
October,
think it was like a
November,
month.
it's,
Um, the
it's about a
e-
month and a half.
either way, the problem with it is that these guys they had a very short turnaround from, oh yeah, December 22nd, that's when they started.
Yeah. Mhm.
So like a month and a half, you're right. And they took a month and a half off, but they only took away 11 games.
10 games, 82, 72, right?
Oh, was it 72? I thought it was
Yeah.
71. 10
72,
games.
yeah.
They
10
took away
games, yeah.
10 games, but they took away a month and a half.
Yeah. So you're squeezing the hell out of
Yes.
the rest of those games.
And that's why we don't hear about players like Kelly Olynyk, because every single night you see players, like you see 5 different games going on at one point. And
Mhm.
why do I care about Kelly Olynyk on the Rockets if today LaMelo gave me 30? If tomorrow Anthony Edwards gave me 30? There's no reason for me to care about those players. That's one of the reasons why this shortened season, it changed a lot when it came to the league itself, when it came to injuries, when it came to fantasy. There were a lot of changes this year.
No, I 100% agree with that, and I'm gonna blame that for me not winning this year, but me winning the past 2 seasons. I'm gonna blame it on those 72 games.
So I think it'd be nice for me, to tell you the truth.
Jeff Teague and Marcus Smart are gonna back up Kemba, so I'm liking their. I had Marcus Smart pretty high, I'm not gonna lie, but he was injured for a lot of it. So Jaylen Brown, that's when Jaylen Brown stepped up and took over.
Yeah.
Mhm. fantasy outlooks, and they very well could be sleepers this year. Even though Kemba does provide good scoring, assists, and threes, I would just avoid drafting Kemba in general this year, so give him to another fantasy manager to deal with his injuries. 3 for 3, baby. 3 for 3. Next player on this list is Terry Rozier. When I saw that the Hornets drafted LaMelo Ball, I actually had the thought that Terry Rozier would be a better fantasy player as a 6-man if LaMelo started. But with the latest signing of Gordon Hayward, I don't see Rozier getting enough usage to be drafted in the top 100. The value of Rozier, Graham, and LaMelo is still uncertain, and I personally won't be taking the risk on drafting any one of them this year. If I'm feeling risky, however, I'd probably take LaMelo out of the 3 with the hope that he exceeds his rookie expectations, but that would be later in the draft if he falls to me. What do you think about that, bro?
I think that was 100% correct, honestly.
Bro, Terry Rozier, he's one of the biggest sleepers this year in terms of the
Yeah.
draft. Yeah,
This
I messed
was
up
a
on
good
that.
prediction, though. No, I don't think you messed up. It was still a good prediction because by the end of last year, it seemed like Devontae Graham was more valued than Terry Rozier. And what Graham offered might help more when you have more scoring options.
Mhm.
Rozier is more of a score first. Graham, he can score, but I would like from what I've seen, he's more prone to passing than Terry Rozier. So why would you put Terry Rozier on the court with other people who want to score? With
It's not even that. Gordon Hayward, I thought, would take away a lot of Terry Rozier's shots, but honestly, I didn't realize that they both would be getting most of the shots, and Graham would lose most of his value. I forgot that Graham had one of the
Graham.
highest usages last year. Sorry,
Graham.
it's not Graham.
No.
I've been saying it wrong for the past 2 years. But I think so. Graham had one of the highest usages last year, and I didn't realize
I just
that
told you his
if you
name.
just take him out. Oh, sorry. Graham.
Graham. Graham.
Huh?
Graham, you know, like
Graham.
graham crackers?
Graham Cracker. Okay, so Mr. Graham Cracker had very high usage last year, and I didn't realize that if he's out of the rotation, not out of the rotation, but if he's like, if you lower his usage, you're opening up so much for Terry Rozier. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
Even LaMelo Ball, like he ate, Terry Rozier ate, and Gordon Hayward ate this season.
Yeah. It was
It's
definitely
crazy.
a surprise.
Another player on my do not draft list is Kyrie Irving, who has an ADP of 25, and that is crazy to me. I get that a healthy Kyrie is a top 15 pick, but now that Kevin Durant is on the team, I would expect his points and usage to drop a little
That was
bit,
nasty.
and that's if I was assuming he's going to be healthy this season. So if he is healthy, I would think about him in the mid to late second round pick. But the fact that Kyrie is an extremely injury-prone player who has played a quarter of games last season, I do not recommend risking it, especially with Steve Nash already talking about resting KD and Kyrie before the season even started.
Yeah.
I already spoiled the next one, but all of those personal games that he's
Yeah.
got to take some time off, that's what I meant. You know, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I think that's accurate too. The only thing is, I think Kyrie outperformed everyone's expectations this year for sure.
When he played, yeah, I agree.
Unbelievable. Kyrie this year was actually like it. I can't believe that this is the best I've seen Kyrie. That's the weird thing about it.
What about the third year he played for the Cavs? I think he had 28 or 29 a game. Even though he was on a worse team. You know what? No, I agree. It's not just about the points and the stats. It's about how you play. When he played with great talent around him, he did play his best.
It wasn't
I
just
agree.
that though. Kyrie was shooting really well. That was the crazy part. That
What's his
Kyrie was so
percentage?
efficient.
50.4%.
Look at every year before that.
Actually, I have that. Let me right there. You got where is it? 46, 45, 43, 47, 45. Yeah, bro, you're right.
And
He's never hit 50.
Exactly. That's amazing. For any guard in Kyrie's position, if there is ever a guard that plays like Kyrie, shooting 50 is actually unbelievable. It's one of those marks that a player only hits if they're most of the time maybe a safe scorer, you know, like a Dwayne Wade type scorer,
Mhm.
where their baskets are close to the basket, mid-range shots, you know, stuff like that. Or if it's a small forward and up, those guys, they shoot 50% above. players like Kyrie don't usually shoot 50% and above. This year that Kyrie just had was actually one of the most mind-blowing years that I've seen from a guard that plays like him, because there's not a lot of guards that can do what he does and still shoot as well, especially the difficulty of shots that this man takes.
You know, the thing is, I agree with you, and I actually have guys like Joel Embiid and Kyrie top 8, but the
Okay.
fact that they're injury prone,
Yeah.
that's why they're ranked lower. Like Joel Embiid, I've always had him as a top 8, top 10, more top 8 player in fantasy,
Mhm.
but he's always drafted in the second round because of his injuries. Kyrie, and obviously because Joel Embiid didn't get injured, he was like one of the best players this year, and
Yeah.
he was considered a sleeper pick, right? Kyrie, on the other hand, I think he was fair where he was taken.
Yep.
That's mainly because he was playing like a top 5 pick when he was in,
Mhm.
and then he wasn't in. You know, like on and off, on and off. This was us reacting to the players in our draft video. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This has been Sirac and Mancy Buckets. I hope you guys have an awesome day, and peace.
Peace.